Hey Kelly, join us as we share with you our 10 top tips of how to survive through winter whilst living full-time in a tent. Let's have a proper look, shall we?
So, you're at home, you want to do winter in a tent, not sure how you're going to manage it. I mean, you've got to think about your safety and your comfort, right? Well, we know how, and we've been doing it for over 11 years. So let's take you through our 10 top tips. So your main first top tip, and this is the top of all of them. Move south. You want to go as far south as you can, but not coastal. Why not coastal? You're going to freeze to death. All of that wind is going to come in through the coast. You need a way to protect yourself from that. But south is the answer. You'll be surprised how much just a few miles difference can make to the temperature when you're in deep winter. Now, some people assume that being by the coast, I mean, there is the thing that they say it can be up to 5 degrees warmer, but you're forgetting about that wind chill, and we'll get to that a bit further in.
Another good one I've told you about before, stay away from those bodies of water. Those bodies of water are going to absolutely zap that life away from you, and you're going to feel a lot colder. I mean, if you remember this video up here, when we were in Wales, you know, there was that flash flooding. Stay away from water. Honestly, it will help you to no end. Obviously, keep your water source close by, but don't stay on top of it. You're just going to freeze to death, and nobody wants that. Keep safe, stay safe, right?
So what's next? Thermals. What would you know? Thermals. Thermals. I can't stress how important it is to treat it like your second skin. And if you need a couple of pairs of thermals in order to alternate through them, because obviously if you get warm and sweaty in one, you don't want to go and sleep in that. You need to get changed out of those and into a dry pair, and then make sure that those are dry and clean for when you need them next. But thermals are an absolute must. As you can see, we're only in autumn, and already I've adopted my thermals. They will be with me all winter.
When do you usually change out of them season-wise?
I normally hit around about April. It really is when that sun starts to get a bit stronger. If I'm out and about and I'm finding that I'm overheating a lot, the thermals start to go. Often it's a case of I'll take them off, I'll go through a week, and then I'll put them back on again because the temperature's dropped again. Because as the seasons are changing, you're going to get warm patches and cold patches, as we know.
The next thing on our list is tent size. So with a tent size, if you have a look at our tent and our setup, so what happens is that's too big for one person. For us three, so Tara, me and Dog, it's absolutely fine. But keep your tent size and profile a lot smaller than it needs to be, because we've done vans, we've done boats, we've done caravans and anything like that in the past. And when you've got a bigger area in which to warm up, you need the log burners, you need the little radiators and blow fans and things like that. But in a tent, the smaller the tent, the less less energy you have to then heat that thing up and get warm, you know? So always keep low profile. This tent, ours, the Lanshan 2, or of that similar design, you can get a one-man version. If you're a solo camper, keep it nice and small, compact, you'll stay a lot warmer. You will stay warm inside a smaller tent, always, without fail. We swear by it, smaller the better. And as the old saying goes, doesn't it? It doesn't matter about the size, it's what you do with it. And it is. The size must be smaller. You'll win every time. Which leads us on to, where do you stay? You know, Paul Messner, you're all right, mate. Honestly, I know I had a bit of a gripe. You're telling people to stay out in the open. Us living this way and not being weekenders, such as yourselves or such as many of you, we live this lifestyle 24/7. Now, we've always noticed that when the first frost comes in, it's never frosty in the woodlands. Never frosty in the woodlands. Always out in the open. So we stay inside the woods. It doesn't freeze as much. The trees keep you warm. Their roots, I know they take up a lot of moisture, but for some reason, I'll show you on the thermal scope one day, for some reason they just manage to retain and hold on to that heat, which keeps the temperature a little bit higher than the outside temperature.
Not to mention it helps break the wind as well, all that foliage that's around you, so you get a little wind break. But staying out in an open field, for example, we we had almost turned down a job because the chap wanted us to do some land security, but he wanted us to be pitched in an open field. He had a woodland on the land, so we said to him, this is really impractical for us. We can't do that because our lives are at risk. Eventually we negotiated and got into the woodland, but it took some convincing to try and get him to understand what we were talking about. Of course, we had to show him the situation we were in the following morning just from staying in that field. Condensate, it rained on the inside of the tent and it wasn't even raining on the outside.
That is the thing with condensation, isn't it? When you're in a field, all that grass, your tent is literally soaking it all up, soaking it all up, soaking it all up. And you really don't want that. You're gonna freeze to death. We opened the door in the tent that morning and even the condensation was frozen. That is a bad situation. You're not going to survive much longer than a few days like that.
Yeah.
Really get into the wood lines, get into the trees, even if they are sparse. We've gone over tarps, you know, camouflage and concealment. Just think about what you're doing. You'll be rocking.
Now another tip, stay active. And what I mean is, I don't mean constantly burn all of your calories, because that's just silly. But what I do mean is when you're getting that coldness, you know, when it's getting to your bones and you're starting to get that shiver, that's the time that you need to get up and get moving, really get moving, get that blood pumping. Whether it's a case of, I don't know, moving logs for no apparent reason because we don't do ground fires, but we'll drag things around just to get our blood pumping, you know, whatever it takes. Or better still, we'll go out and run around with the dog and just have a little bit of play, have a little bit of a playful time. I mean, why not, right? Not only do you get fun out of it, but you also stay warm. I guess the problem that some people have is when they start shivering like that, they just think about wrapping themselves up more or getting deep in their sleeping bag and trying to ride it out. Don't do that. It's a bad mistake. Get yourself warm, because if you're warm and then you get in your bag, you're going to warm that bag up in a jiffy. Stay active.
We're going to pause the video here for a minute.
To thank you all. Thank you very much. It was very generous of you. We don't ask anyone for anything, but we will show our gratitude. So thank you very much for that.
Yeah, it's really quite humbling. And you guys, Mark and all the others, you're absolutely brilliant. So thank you. Really appreciate it.
And if you're not already, do consider becoming a member, because our little membership crew, you know, you get perks and there are even some hidden ones.
Yes, there are some hidden ones. But yeah, anyway, thank you again. Let's get back into it, shall we? So much like Tara went over with the thermals, you see what she's got on? It's a wool jumper. The importance of wool throughout winter is absolutely crucial. Now, problem is, you don't see any sheep with t-shirts on in the winter, do you? Right? And the farmers don't cut them in winter either. That wool is going to keep you warm. And even when it's wet, it will still keep you warm. Yes. So we always, I mean, have a look in your charity shops, have a look online, have a look at Army Outdoors. They got some good gear. For 100% wool. If you can't get 100% wool, go 50%. Yeah, go 50% synthetic and 50% wool. At least you're going to be in with a bit more of a chance, and you're not going to hold on to as much water, as much cold as you would necessarily with normal synthetic jumpers on and stuff like that. If you've got somebody in your family that likes to knit, ask them for a merino wool jumper for Christmas. You know, Christmas is coming up. Easter's only 170 days away, apparently, you know. So it's only 170 days of winter, as it were, right? So, you know, you only need that jumper for 4 to 5 months of the year, if that, you know. So, yeah, the importance of wool. We've even seen people walking around with wool underwear on.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, if I could get some comfy wool knickers, I would definitely have them.
Moira, please don't, no. It's right, it's in the pipeline. We've got a plan for something coming up.
Which leads us nicely on to bed socks. Make sure they're thermal for your bedtime, but also don't wear your bed socks in the day. They must be dedicated bed socks, because when you're getting into bed with socks that you've worn all day, you might think they're dry, but inside your worn socks are going to be oily substances which can get your feet really cold if it starts getting cold. So I would advise, have a pair of thermal socks that are your dedicated bed socks. You're only wearing for bed and not for anything else.
Now another real important thing that we employ is hats. Now, not this hat, this is my autumny hat, my foraging hat, it's new. But you want even a thermal hat, a wool hat, even better. Some people make those hats with, you can turn them into hats and a scarf at the same time. It's like a double wool wrap sort of hat. They're brilliant. But wearing a hat in bed, especially when you're in bed, as long as it's dry, it's going to keep you warm. You know, you can pull it down. You can literally pull your hat down like that over your face, and you can keep the top of your head warm, your nose, your ears, all those sorts of things. And it's an absolute game changer. I mean, I've tried it. I've got no hair. Your head gets cold, and then all of a sudden the next day you go, oh, I've got a bit of a head cold, you know, things like that. And yeah, it's just always best just to keep that chill off. So the thing is with that, I get a cold head because a lot of people think, you know that gap underneath your tent? A lot of people think you've got to put leaves against it, pack it up. Well, where's the other air inside the tent going? Well, that air inside the tent is being trapped. It condensates and then it will freeze. You know, so it's always best to have that airflow. Just keep it open. So when you're wearing your hat, you're not going to get a cold head because you've had your tent open. Well, because you've had your gap underneath your tent. It'll be all right, trust me. Because we live outside 24/7, we never ever pack that gap that goes around the tent. It's another top tip. It's a bit of a bonus tip. Just never do it. Unless you're in a snowy country, a real cold country like Norway, and you've got snow flaps on the side of your tent, that's what they're for. You're not gonna get much condensation because you're on snow. You're on snow, being packed by snow, packing snow on the top. So less of the snow, more of the go, eh?
Another common mistake that a lot of people will make is they'll get their sleeping bag because they're cold and they'll oh Lord, please don't do that, because it is such a bad idea. You're moistening the inside of your bag, and if you're having to do that to warm your bag up, I'm going to say you've gone about it the wrong way. Get out of the bag, do some jumping jacks, whatever you need to do to warm your body up, then get back in the bag. It's only going to take the maximum 5 minutes to warm that bag up with your own body heat, but do not breathe in it, because even if it's just to get past that initial cold, what you're doing is you're making the inside of the bag damp. Now, when you're asleep and those temperatures are dropping, you're freezing your bag. You're literally putting yourself into a little ice cube. So bad idea. Don't breathe in the bag. Keep your mouth free from the inside of your bag. And you'll notice that even the moisture that you'll collect on the outside of your bag from breathing, when it touches your face, it's really cold, you know, and it's quite tempting to, oh no, just breathe in the bag. Don't do it. A scarf will help you take care of that, because what I do is when I'm breathing outside in the winter and I've got my bag wrapped around me and it's all done up nice, and your hat down, and my hat down, I've got my scarf like this, so that when I'm breathing, it's not breathing onto a bag, because the bags of a certain material that are going to not feel great on your skin. Whereas a bit of this, it's not really going to take much to, you could just turn it over, fresh bit. There we are. Don't breathe in the bag.
So if you are new here or returning, you know, give us a like, give us a thumbs up, share us around and all that hype. It really does help out. But follow our journey. We've been at this for over 11 years now professionally. We've made it work. We've got jobs. And we decided to share our journey with you on YouTube, just to give you a bit of a heads up, let you know that it is possible, especially with the housing crisis these days, the cost of living and all that jazz. It's absolutely mad. So, you know, if you like it, subscribe, follow along, and I guess until next time, eh? Happy hopping.